So we have officially hit playoff season for Ohio State. The college football playoff doesn't start until December 20th, but the Ohio State football playoff starts right now. The minute the Northwestern game ended 31-7 for Ohio State, 9-1. Here is what their path now looks like. It's top 5 opponent at home. It's emotional rivalry game at home. And then you're playing neutral site games that are all going to be against playoff-level opponents, regardless of whether you win or lose that game in Indianapolis against potentially Oregon in that game. I'm Steven, that's Andrew, and that's Stefan. So 10 games, you had 10 months. We're here now, Andrew. Everything that Ohio State has done since January 1st has led up to right now. Maybe we weren't thinking Indiana would be part of that right now, but they are. Do you think this is a team that we get to January 20th, can we still win a national championship?
Yes. I think there are warts with this team, maybe warts that we did not expect. Go check out our other video. We talked about the corners and maybe our concern level there. I don't think anybody was really anticipating that. I mean, you never want to account for injuries, but Josh Simmons going down certainly has people feeling a little worried. What happens if this offensive line plays, really, really talented defensive line like a Tennessee or something like that in the playoff? So, yes, there are concerns you have about this team. There are concerns you have that maybe you didn't have a couple of months ago. But that doesn't mean they're not one of the best teams in the country. The current number 1 team in the country, the Oregon Ducks, beat Ohio State by 1 point at home in a game that really either team could have won. I mean, I don't think the result was necessarily wrong that Oregon won, but Ohio State can absolutely sit there and say, we should have won that game. Oregon can absolutely sit there and say, we should have won that game. Well, guess what? If Ohio State wins another game or two, they're going to have a shot to play Oregon again, and they can prove that they are the best team in the country, because we have questions what's going on in the SEC right now with Georgia, with Alabama. Texas struggled today as we're recording this against Arkansas. Apparently Arkansas is just the giant killer in the SEC. They beat Tennessee. They hang with Texas. But that doesn't mean that Ohio State is at that level of those teams, right? I mean, Ohio State had a scare against Nebraska, but they lose by 1 to the number 1 team in the country. They kind of dominated Penn State. I know they only won that game by a touchdown, but that game did not feel like a 7-point game. It felt like Ohio State was kind of the better team throughout. So, yes, this team can absolutely win a national championship because, yes, they have warts. And, yes, people might be very upset about, the defense or their – we were getting texts during the beginning of the game where people are like, this team's struggling against another bad team in the first quarter or whatever. But they're still one of the best teams in college football. So just because you have warts doesn't mean you can't win a national championship. And I think Ohio State absolutely can, because there is enough good on the rest of this roster, specifically offensively, that you think can carry you to a title.
Stefan, what do you think?
I think the answer is yes, and for a lot of the same reasons Andrew said. I'm going to go a different route. We had a conversation a few weeks ago of, can Will Howard be the quarterback that leads his team to a national championship? Can he at times be the reason they are national championship caliber? And we were all kind of iffy on our answer at the time because we kept saying he doesn't need to be a superhero to lead this team. The way he's played the last 2 weeks, and I know the level of competition is obviously indicative of some of that, that makes me think that, okay, this is more than a game manager. This is a guy who can take some shots, who can get some big throws down the field to Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibuka and Carnell Tate like we saw here at Wrigley Field. So I always had the confidence that this team could win a national championship. Even when they lost at Oregon, we all knew, okay, well, they're still probably going to get in the playoff, and they're going to have a chance to make a national championship. And it only took like less than a month for the college football playoff rankings to come out, and there they were, 1 spot behind the team that they lost to. So that we've known that. Nothing of that has changed. Even through injuries, they still have a national championship roster and can do that with the talent that they have. But now I'm starting to get some more confidence in this quarterback being the reason where if things get sluggish in a game, and things were kind of sluggish early in the game here, and he made some throws that made me go, whoa, like, he doesn't need to be a superhero, but he's starting to play like one a little bit when he's asked to. So my confidence has grown because of how Will Howard has been playing.
I picked this team to win a national championship in the preseason. I said they were going to go undefeated in doing so. Obviously, they can't do that now, losing to Oregon, which I think in the preseason you picked them to lose to Oregon early and then beat them later on. I think that's what's going to happen. It's really hard to beat a team multiple times in one season, and there's a chance these two might play each other 2 more times this year. I think Ohio State's going to win both of those games if they do, partially because I'm with you. I'm there with Will Howard. Do I think he's the best quarterback in college football? No. Do I think he can play with any quarterback in college football? Yes. And that's all that matters. Can he look every quarterback in the eye? you brought up the Oregon game and how both of those teams could say, we should have won that game. I felt like both of those quarterbacks could have walked away and said, I outplayed the guy on the other sideline. It doesn't matter which side you fall on or what you agree with, you can make a case for both. That gave me all the confidence I needed to see in Will Howard. Because, again, listen, he didn't get down 0.7 seconds earlier. That's bang, bang play. I get that. Whatever. And that's what Ryan Day is trying to get rid of, those bang, bang plays. But I've seen enough improvement in some areas, and I know I've got some concerns with the corners. But, again, it's about this one specific thing they do. And, again, uptick in talent, uptick in motivation, uptick in level of play. I still have full faith in Denzel Burke and Davison Igbinosun and Jermaine Matthews on the outside, or I wouldn't be talking about them like this. I wouldn't be holding them to a standard I didn't think they could meet. I feel more confident today that this team's going to win a national championship than I felt leaving the Oregon game. Because the things that were fixable that they needed to fix, defensively and offensively, to the best of their ability, given what their personnel is, I think they fixed those things. And you're right, Stefan, we're seeing enough stuff from Will Howard that lets you know, no, he doesn't need to be a superhero. But when the moment calls for a quarterback to do that one extra thing that no matter what level you're talking about, he's got to be able to do, he is showing us he can do those things. And that's all. That's a great combination, a great formula, especially with these two running backs running and blocking the way they are. We'll continue to have this conversation all week long for the next month and a half, because this is where we're at now. It's time to put up or shut up for a roster that $20 million is the number that's been thrown out there. Every transfer, every recruit, every guy who put off the NFL, this is it.
Out of your bust.
This is it. This is the moment that they came together for. Andrew, Stefan, Stephen, get the text 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial. That gets you through the Indiana and the Michigan game. Two pretty important games. I would sign up if I were you. I would, but that's just me. Talk to you guys later.